But why is Jalen Brunson so effective? Ever since the Knicks acquired him, and really ever since he made it to the NBA, he's been extremely effective. But especially talking about his career with the Knicks so far, he's not only done a great job at playing great individually, but he's also done a great job at completely changing the culture in New York and making everybody around him better. But quickly, before we get the video started, for those of you who may not know, I'm Juicy Sports. I make opinionated NBA content, and if you guys enjoy videos similar to this, hit that subscribe button, that like button, and that post notification bell. I also want to quickly mention that I recently started up an MMA channel, and if you guys are interested in that, the link will be in the description. But anyways, let's get into it. Ever since Jalen Brunson started to get a bigger opportunity in Dallas, it was pretty clear that this guy was going to be a really good player. Now, although he was getting continuously better season after season, and although he was putting up really nice performances, particularly in the playoffs, I don't think anybody, including Dallas, expected him to become the player that he is today. Because originally when the Knicks signed him, a lot of people were a fan of this move, but at the same time, there was an equal amount of people that didn't necessarily love this move. The Knicks were giving a pretty sizable contract to a guy who's never been a #1 option on any team, and when that happens, there's always going to be those concerns on whether or not he's ready or whether or not he's ever going to be that player that would be a legitimate #1 option on a team. Because although he was playing extremely well in Dallas, he was playing alongside Luka Doncic, and when you're playing with a superstar of that caliber, he's going to take a lot of pressure off you individually and just make it that much easier for you to score for yourself, or make it that much easier by getting you wide open looks. But with the Knicks so far, as we all know at this point, Brunson was able to do a great job at not only playing great individually, but also making everybody around him better, proving that he was a legitimate #1 option on a team. And at this point in his first season with the Knicks, he was able to play even better with them than he was able to play with Dallas, playing alongside Luka Doncic. And to be honest, what Brunson has done in New York has been nothing short of incredible. As I said, he was able to do a great job at playing well individually and making everyone around him better, but he was also able to do a great job at completely turning around this culture. Now, although before the Knicks did sign him, the culture was changing a little bit, ever since Brunson got here, he did a great job at completely turning everything around. Because at this point, it seems like the Knicks are really far away from ever getting to that point where they're at in the last 20 seasons. And what I mean by that is a team that has no chance whatsoever of making the playoffs, and it seems like they have no future whatsoever either. Ever since Brunson has gotten here, and although it has been a short sample size, but regardless, ever since he's gotten here, he made the playoffs in his first year, and this year he is also playing extremely well and making everybody around him better. And to be honest, I would be very surprised if the Knicks this season were not able to make the playoffs, and Brunson is a huge reason for why I feel that way. But a question that some of you may be wondering at this point is, why is Jalen Brunson able to be so effective? Because when you look at him, he doesn't have the best size, he's not the most athletic guy, but he's done a great job throughout his entire NBA career to be extremely effective in a lot of different ways. Well, in my opinion, I think it comes down to a couple different factors, but the first factor that I want to touch upon is his overall offensive versatility. Because when you look at Brunson, he does a great job at doing a lot of different things well. In terms of his three-point shooting ability, he has a really nice ability to hit that catch and shoot three-point jump shot. He also has a really nice ability to hit that one dribble pull-up three-point jump shot. He can cross over, sidestep, or even step back into a three-point jump shot. And basically from that range, the reason why he's so good from there is he's able to shoot at a really high percentage, and he has a lot of different abilities from that range. But then moving on to his mid-range shooting ability, this is probably the best aspect of his game, as Brunson does a great job at creating space from that area in terms of a one dribble pull-up, crossover, sidestep, or step back, and even at times has the ability to hit that post turnaround fadeaway, which is something that's pretty unique for a player that's at his size and at his position. Now, driving all the way to the basket, Brunson also is very effective, as he does a great job at putting up that little baby floater in the lane. He can finish around the basket with either hand, either his left or right, and even has a really nice ability to finish through contact to get and one finishes. So overall, a huge reason for why I think he's so effective individually is due to his overall versatility. The fact that he's able to score at all three levels, but is also so versatile at each one of those levels, just makes him that much more dangerous and that much more effective. Because there are a lot of players in the NBA that are either very efficient but not versatile, or pretty versatile but not all that efficient. But when you look at Jalen Brunson, it's pretty clear that he has both of those abilities at a really high level. But the next reason for why I think Jalen Brunson is so effective is due to his leadership. Because when you look at what Brunson can do on the court, it's pretty clear that he's a pretty good passer and playmaker, and he does a really nice job at getting his teammates easy looks. But at the same time, even if he was a really good passer and playmaker, but he didn't have the best leadership qualities, it would be a little bit more difficult to have the type of success that the Knicks have been having ever since Brunson got to the team. Because really what Brunson does well with his leadership is he does a really good job at making sure everybody works extremely hard. Whether you talk about in the training room, whether you talk about in the practice facility, regardless of what it is, the fact that Jalen has a really good leadership role within this Knicks organization is a huge reason for why they're having so much success, of course. And all that he's doing for his teammates off the court, of course, is going to translate to on the court, and I think we've seen it over the past year and a half from how the Knicks are playing in that span compared to how they were playing over the last 20 or so seasons. So obviously when you look at Jalen Brunson, I think there's a lot of different reasons for why he's been so effective in the NBA, and I think it comes down to both on the court but also off the court things. But the next question that some of you may be wondering at this point is, where do I see this year's New York Knicks going? Because although they have had some success early on in the season, at the same time, in terms of their record, it's definitely not exactly where they want it to be. Well, in my opinion, I do think the Knicks are going to do a nice job at building off of what they were able to do last year. Now, although when you do look at the roster, they haven't made all that many improvements. Really, the only addition that they've made was adding Dante DiVincenzo, and when you look at a lot of other teams in the NBA, especially in the Eastern Conference, they were able to do a nice job at adding significant talent to their rosters. Most notably the Milwaukee Bucks with Damian Lillard, and also the Boston Celtics with Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis. But with all that being said, the Knicks were able to be pretty successful last season, and I would be pretty surprised if they didn't have a similar level of success this year. And what I mean by that is I fully expect the Knicks to make the playoffs, probably being a top 6 or a top 5 seed in the East, and maybe even making it past the first round depending on who they play, and going forward from there, I could see a couple of different teams in the East that the Knicks could legitimately beat. So I think at this point my expectations for them would be to make the playoffs and make it past the first round. If they're able to do that, and if they're able to have any more success after that, it would just be a bonus. But if they're able to do anything less than that, I do think it would be somewhat of a disappointment. Now I will say, if they do make it to the playoffs and they have a very first close round matchup against a good team and they're not able to win, I wouldn't necessarily say it's a complete failure, and it still would be something they can build off of going into the next season. But at the end of the day, I really would like to see them build off of what they were able to do last year and get a little bit better than that. Although this season it's going to be a little bit more difficult to do that than it was last year. But I guess only time will tell what does end up happening with Jalen Brunson and the New York Knicks. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Why, in your opinion, do you think Jalen Brunson has been so effective in the NBA so far? But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did enjoy, check one of these two videos popping up now. And until the next time, peace out, guys.